This episode of the Seventh Valkyrie podcast was brought to you by me, Kyrie Corona. To get the full experience, including all available seasons, extra artwork, bonus features, and behind-the-scenes content, so you can further bask in my glory, you can download the Seventh Valkyrie app at the link in the description. Hello, everybody. This is Colin, and we're back with a juicy topic today. You know, you guys have been getting to know me a little better in the past couple weeks, and I actually wanted to take a moment right now to talk about something sort of very, very important to the overall Seventh Valkyrie story. It's something called Extranaturalism. And it's something that I sort of came up with, and it's not like I'm trying to start a cult here, but it's sort of the core theory, belief system, and mindset behind everything in the Seventh Valkyrie. Now, I was raised Episcopalian, which is a division of Christianity, and both in that church, I saw both like moments of incredible community and wonder, and also incredible moments of boredom. We don't have the most fun church services, the Episcopalians. And as I got older, I remember looking around the world, and I saw from organized religion less of the like, oh, wonder, joy, community. Like I got those from the people I cared about, and instead, like all I heard about religion was, oppression, hate. You know, there's a lot in the U.S. of really hateful religious extremists. There's a lot throughout the world. Historically, these have not been, these have been, productive organizations, but they've not led to, but they've caused a lot of harm, and a lot of good for a lot of people. Like, I don't want to hate on people who have, true faith and find belief in that, and you'll understand that later. But early on, when I was maybe in high school, I kind of started dancing around with, like, what is my belief system? And I sort of, I rebounded from religion to super cynical atheism, like the kind of smug atheism, and then kind of self-righteous agnosticism, like kind of like, I know better than you because we can never truly know. So anyone who believes with faith is, blah, 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 blah. Just like typical high school shit and early college. But ultimately, I settled on a mindset that I call extranaturalism. And you'll notice that it has some similarity to Seventh Valkyrie. And it wasn't necessarily because I was thinking of Seventh Valkyrie at the time. It was more I kind of came up with this, and it was kind of fun that I was like, extranaturals. And I was like, I guess extranaturalism really does describe it. And again, I'm not trying to start a church, but I wanted to kind of, communicate some of these ideas. And like over the course of my college career, whenever I would have like huge existential crises, which my parents can tell you started happening when I was probably about 9. I don't know. It gave me a little bit of belief and a little bit of comfort in this world that often has very little comfort for people who think too hard. And yeah, so I wanted to just kind of share kind of just a little bit about this process, this thought system. And if it works for you and it makes sense for you, then great. And if not, cool. And if there's anybody out there like me who is a middle schooler struggling to find like, to balance like grumpy, cynical atheism with like wanting to believe that there's something magical in the world, well, here it is. At its core, extranaturalism is the belief that the universe is a natural machine governed by irreversible laws. But it also kind of builds around the belief that even those irreversible natural laws have given rise to something sort of beyond science, something extranatural, humanity, and all life that achieve consciousness. I don't want to conform us and say, aliens couldn't be extranaturalists, or even like, thoughtful chimps. I don't know. Anyway, I call it this. I think all, and where this differs from any sort of religion or something is just, as I was doing some thinking about this, I was like, the origin of extranaturalism, and if you choose in this moment, there's sort of an origin point at which you have to confront the appearance, as we look around ourselves, of a meaningful life that's filled with purpose and emotion and connection and wonder. Against the reality that we know the universe is mostly chaos theory and a bunch of natural laws. And it's kind of a hard balance to strike. You're like, oh man, I want to believe that everything means something, yada, yada, yada. Or if you're a science-based person, you're like, oh, I'd like to have faith, but like, man, there's no evidence, yada, yada. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of reach this origin point of, man, like what it comes down to is, do you believe that there is greater meaning in the universe, that there's some sort of greater power, or do you think that everything's determined and life doesn't matter and we're all going to die? An extranatural, someone who identifies as an extranatural like myself, makes the choice. It's a conscientious choice, a conscious choice, to believe that there is purpose and meaning in life, and in doing so, they manifest purpose and meaning in life. It's kind of this interesting thing where by using your free will to believe that there is meaning, you have created meaning in your life. And like in this way, like the magic and color of life that an extranaturalist experiences are both self-created and, inevitable. But like when you choose to believe that there is meaning and you attach meaning to things, you are giving life. You are bringing meaning into the world by believing it yourself. And it's kind of this interesting, like, we may know that science is science and that, faith requires faith and spirituality requires, whatever that requires. But it's kind of, the idea is that when you get faced with that challenge, you choose to believe. And you say, hey, even in the face of all these harsh realities, I choose to believe that there's a greater meaning in the world. And I think that is true of tons and tons of religions. I don't, at the end of this, I have some notes about how it's like, this isn't meant to replace any religion. It was just a way that I kind of came about thinking. But it also, like an extranatural, someone who believes in extranaturalism, takes meaning and purpose from a lot of things in life, including but not limited to, the uniqueness and wonderful gift of having a self, having free will, having a consciousness. That's a beautiful gift. Of the infinite unknown of this big universe that's so much larger than all of us, and exploring mysteries, like even if those things are determined, they're mysterious to us and magical. The beautiful intricacies of nature, which I go into all the time. Nature is this elegant machine that we inhabit, and it's kind of beautiful and it's wonderful to explore the fascinating byproducts and manifestations of nature and of this grand machine that we're all in. Overcoming limitations and challenges, both of your body and mind, are important, but at the same time, also relishing the sensations of your body and mind and your brain and taking advantage of, these things that we're gifted as feeling, thinking creatures. Personal explorations of extranatural stuff, how you explore, how you think about these things, people who do lots of psychedelics. These are moments to look beyond, kind of the, I don't know, like it's a chance to embrace sort of extranatural experiences. Creation of art is a huge one, through which you can share your emotions and experience with others. But a lot, it kind of is this art is sort of this bridge where I've talked about, how, like the part of the story is your story that you're hearing and building off of my voice. So, the creation of art is kind of this coming together and becoming something more than either of us could be alone. There's value to be found in the interaction and exploration of other cultures, peoples, arts, these, religions, belief systems, anything that adds color, culture, character to life is really cool to explore. And a big part of, the values of, the extranatural belief system is that like, wow, these are all things that we should be deeply grateful for. I try, and I think I'm the only extranatural right now, so I don't know, I would say we, or extranaturals in general. I think I wrote some document called the Extranatural Manifesto at some point, which are manifestos only for like bombers now? I hope not. Please, I'm not planning a terrorist attack, that's one of those things where if you say it, then everyone's like, but are you really? Anyway, I want to move on. Anyway, speaking of ups and downs, the presence of life's ups and downs through which joy is given context and pain is given purpose, that's a huge part of this, that you have ups and downs, that life is chaotic and interesting. It's not just defined, but through those ups and downs and, through the grand scheme of ups and downs, we can be grateful for what we have and, find purpose in helping others. Which is another way to connect with people who are the strongest manifestation of this idea that out of the machine came this beautiful magic that is humanity. And then the improvement and support of others, good-natured competition, putting yourself against other people and being willing to win and lose and kind of push both yourselves to the limits that you feel comfortable with and explore your own limits. Passing on of knowledge, joy, and life to the next generation is hugely foundational. This idea that, what we do is not limited to us because the people before us gave us something. We are building on the shoulders of thousands and thousands of generations of people who, knowingly or not, decided to give something to the next generation, into the future. And the final part of it is that we give thanks for the presence of an ending, which is death, through which all life is given purpose. I'm not a big believer in the afterlife, maybe reincarnation, but reincarnation in the idea that I could just say you're wiped clean and you're born as somebody else. And it's all right, cool. Maybe that gives me some comfort, but there's literally no difference between me dying and being reborn as someone else because someone else is someone else. And maybe we all are. I don't know. I don't get real deep into the afterlife because I don't like thinking about dying, but it certainly provides context to all life that we have here. Anyway, so that was, I can print this out or send this to people if anyone's interested. And I'm going to keep refining it. But what I've noticed, and again, I'm not trying to start a church here. I just thought it would be cool to share kind of a lot of the belief system that underlies the Seventh Valkyrie and how that manifests will be interesting and up to you guys to discover. Because there are countless political philosophies, religious beliefs, and moral teachings that all align with this idea of extranaturalism. Some of them have contradicting elements, but at its heart, all that you really need to do to be an extranatural, or at least by this definition, is realize that in a mechanical universe governed by laws of science, intelligent life is this sort of beautiful ghost in the machine. It's sort of this manifestation of something extranatural, and the choice that you make is the very definition of free will. Is you're choosing to believe and give meaning to the world, and in doing so, you do. I don't know. It's kind of a self-fulfilling idea, but I really like it, and it feels comfortable that every day you can choose to give yourself meaning, and that's really powerful. And then because when it came down to it, it was you can either believe that nothing matters or you can believe that things do, and one of those leads to, in my opinion, a more satisfying and beautiful life. I don't know. So in this world where we kind of all struggle for meaning and beauty, that can have infinite beauty, infinite meaning, and simultaneously seem like it has none. It's just a pile of garbage, waiting for people to fuck each other over. I just think of this as sort of an interesting way to kind of just deal with it all, wrap your head around it all. Anyway, much love, and that'll be it for this little treatise on extranaturalism. Have a good one, guys. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Seventh Valkyrie podcast, brought to you by me, Kyrie Corona. I'm sure it was your pleasure, so if you'd like to get the full experience, including all available seasons, extra artwork, bonus features, and behind-the-scenes content, you should download the Seventh Valkyrie app at the link in the description. I'm waiting.